Hey everyone, welcome to your reading. Today's reading is going to be looking at messages, advice, and guidance from your higher self. We will be looking at two separate topics or two different areas that your higher self would like to talk to you about and give you guidance for. So there are three piles to choose from today. Starting with the left side, we have your tarot card is the Wheel of Fortune. Your crystal is the Frog. For pile number 2, your tarot card is the Page of Cups. Your crystal is the Turtle. And pile number 3, your tarot card is the Five of Swords. And your crystal is the Dragon. So please take your time thinking about which pile you feel drawn toward most strongly. Of course, you can be drawn to one or more piles, and that is totally fine. When you are ready, head to the description and you will find the timestamp that will take you directly to your reading. And I will see you there. Bye! Hey pile 1, welcome to your reading. If you chose the Wheel of Fortune card and the Frog crystal, then you have found the right place for your messages from your higher self coming to speak to you about two different areas to pay attention to. So let's get started. We are going to lay the cards from left to right here, starting with the first topic your higher self would like to come speak to you about. So a couple different oracle decks I will be pulling from and then expanding on that with tarot. So for pile number 1, message number 1 from their higher self. What are they being called to focus on in this time? I see Thanatos. And there's one more that I do want to pull as well. We have the Empty Room. Wow. So Thanatos is the god of death or the god of the underworld in Greek mythology, I believe, some mythology. Thanatos is representative of essentially like the death card in tarot. So speaking of rebirth, speaking of transformation with the spider's web, speaking of peeking at those darker shadow aspects and healing and transformation coming from that, I see the empty room is an encouragement to peer into this room, which maybe is empty by the fact that it has not been addressed and it has essentially been pushed aside, like that one room that you shove everything in that you don't know what else to do with. It's kind of like there's room to be filled with more joy is what your higher self is coming through to speak to you about. We have the Perfection card. Let's see from this deck here, one final oracle card to give pile 1 an idea of if they are in the correct place for their pile today. I see 2 cards. We have Impulsiveness and we have Seduction. I feel there was 2 more cards here to pull. So we have Endurance as well as Criticism. Okay. Let's pull our tarot to expand on this, and then we will dive into the messages that are coming through to you from your higher self today for pile number 1. So messages from pile 1's higher self, please. Our first tarot card is the Devil. Definitely those vibes coming through that I was feeling with the Thanatos card, the Empty Room. Messages of seduction and impulsiveness on the oracle cards. We have 2 other cards that just came out. We have the Page, several cards. Wow. The Knight, Page, and 5 of Pentacles. What a spread, guys. Okay. I see that we have room for a few more tarot cards to come out, and then we will get into the messages. So, final messages from pile number 1's higher self for the first topic that they want to address. Wow, guys, we have the 8 of Pentacles as well, and totally reminding me of, we have the Lovers card, 8 of Pentacles reminding me of rejection. Interesting, I think I read that as perfection, did I not? That is wild. I'm actually surprised to have seen that card and it actually says rejection. I totally thought it said perfection. That is crazy. So, that's interesting. That is giving more information as well, but I'm going to pull one more final tarot card. And what I was getting at before that was saying that this card had instantly reminded me of 8 of Pentacles energy, which did just come out with perfection, with someone mastering their craft. Okay, final message for pile number 1. We have the King of Wands. Okay, pile 1. Message number 1 from your higher self here. With these ideas of starting over, the idea of rejection that came through, criticism, I feel that we have all this energy as well of Pentacles coming out, which is like slow, steady progress toward achievement, toward a project, toward something you are working on, a passion, your career, anything like this. And really I'm thinking of like creative passions, creative pursuits and endeavors, with the imagery of this person being a painter, and you see the heads around him as ones that are criticizing and that are affecting his ability to focus and to put in the work. The work almost is being affected by this in a way that you can see here that his visions are of that of, I want to say that these are other people who are in judgment of what he is doing, or who are the ones who essentially get the final word of whether it is good or not. And this is totally playing into the work that you are putting out. I see that almost as if what is on your mind is what is translating to the page. And what is on your mind is rejection. And the way that that is transformed onto paper through painting, through writing, through whatever creative pursuit or whatever you are resonating with, the way that that translates is reflective of what's going on in his head. The encouragement here is to empty that room, or is to access that empty sacred space with which these distractions are not permitted to enter. The message from the higher self here is, yes, there very well could be aspects of criticism toward your work, or aspects of challenge with the work, or we have the 5 of Pentacles, or even just, I think there's a lot of indecision here with the Lovers, as well as with the Devil, with the duality of the man and the woman pictured on them. In one aspect they are free, in the other aspect they are chained to their temptations, to their true desires. It is something that you cannot ignore, is that your intention with this project, we have the Knight of Pentacles moving forward, we have the Page of Pentacles bringing an offering, we have the 5 of Pentacles considering what essentially could go wrong in this project, because it is of such value to you that this is something worthwhile for you to consider in order to perfect and master your craft. But likewise, there is a decision of whether outside voices, outside forces are going to translate onto the work that you are creating, leave an imprint on it, or alter it because of the perception that is in your head of what they are going to think, or what they are going to critique about it. Not being impulsive with, or not putting out work that is tailored to these people with seduction. Seduction, we have Pisces energy. you are a creative, flowing being. I do see with the empty room, with the starry empty room pictured there, you have a lot of potential for new ideas to flow in, new innovative thoughts and innovative strategies toward bringing your thoughts onto paper, onto writing, a painting, things like this type of translation from this empty room that you do have access to within your brain. And it is the choice of whether you are going to pull from those past versions of yourself who feel limited by, who feel dependent on how others will perceive what it is you have created, and who may have acted impulsively toward making changes to the work last minute, or having their preferences in mind as you create it, again with the idea of trying to tailor it towards someone so that criticism is beneficial to you. But there is so much more. We have the Wheel of Fortune as the card you chose. Your higher self is telling you that you have access to a never-ending wheel of fortunate ideas, of creative inspiration. What you need comes from deep within you, from an area unaccessed by anyone else's perceptions, a purified space, a sacred space with which you are being called to answer the calling to and translate it onto paper with your work. Absolutely translating it. The Eight of Pentacles, mastering that craft. And at that, mastering a craft that is very unique to you and that is innovative in that way, that is novel to you. The King of Wands is giving me major creative energy, and this idea of finally being released from those shackles of worrying about judgment to releasing and feeling how things flow through, feeling how you are supported. I'm seeing you as this figure here. I'm seeing how, yes, we know what the scene is representing, the idea of Adam and Eve, but I see that she is sheltered. I see that she is supported with things just within her reach to access, and beyond an ever constant field of energy with this like volcanic imagery in the background. King of Wands is who you were meant to step into as you were pursuing whatever it is that you are passionate about. Let's see if there are any other messages here with the tarot to come out about this first idea about what your higher self is wanting to speak to you on. My eye is just consistently being drawn to this image here, and perfection and rejection. The two aspects of what it is you are balancing with the Devil and the Lovers, the two people on those cards, as well as the two windows, an aspect of duality of, does perfectionism mean rejection for you? Or does rejection destroy the idea of perfectionism within you? It's like you were realizing something. You were realizing that an idea perhaps of perfectionism or of complete precision as you believe that your project should be conducted with, this idea is being destroyed and torn down because potentially there was a situation in the past where you were rejected on something that you believed was perfect. This really could be the catalyst to get you to finally realize that clearly there is nothing I can do to please these people. I was even perfect. I even mentioned all of these things that I knew that they would enjoy, and yet I was still rejected. And realizing that at the end of the day, if this is a creative pursuit, which I am picking up strongly, the value in it is for you, is for filling this empty room within you and for creating more space to access in future moments when you are seeking for creative inspiration and things like this. Yes, pile number 1, that is your first message from your higher self. I am going to pull an oracle card for final advice and guidance from your higher self on this first situation before we jump into the second one. We have the Miracles card with have faith that your miracle is on the way. Your prayers have been answered. Surrender the how. The King of Wands is you getting that wish, is you getting that fulfillment. I'm noticing the shining horn on the unicorn here and the wand, of course, that the King of Wands has. Something is sparking there. He is yielding a small flame in his hand. It is more so in control. It is inspired and uplifted by the realization that miracles have been a solid factor in achieving this. I think that something could happen within this situation that is divinely supportive of it. And it does allow you to release all past inhibitions about how you should be going about this and the progress you should be making and what the final outcome does for others as well as for you. Things are becoming a lot more clear with the intention behind being here, behind doing this, behind consistently showing up for this creative pursuit. Your fortune is on the way with the Wheel of Fortune card that you chose. The slow and steady process, the creative process, the writer's process, things like this. The natural ebb and flow of feeling rejected, feeling accepted, feeling like your work is pleasing to others, feeling like your work is affecting no one. But you are coming out on top. And I think that what you are being told now is the fulfillment that you will get from this is what is to look forward to and is the achievement that is being revealed right now. Of course, that can come with more accolades, with financial abundance, things like this, more connections, more opportunities, but you are being told to focus on why was your heart called? Why did you have the desire to begin this project in the first place? Pile 1. Alright, so pile number 1, your second message from your higher self. We have Oracle card, we have the Sword. Okay. Messages from pile 1's higher self, please. Anything to come through for a second topic to help pile 1 know if this is the message for them. We have Workaholic. Okay. We have 2 cards. We have Eccentricity and Rebellion, both number 11 cards. Interesting. Okay. I think I'm going to stop there for the Oracle. Workaholic, the Sword, Eccentricity, Rebellion, all of these things, I believe, is there an aspect of, again, being told that your work is something that stands apart. I mean, really, with the Workaholic, the painting, this is kind of crazy. The synchronicities here are very interesting. Being told that your work is something that will have an impact on specific people, the eccentricity of it, the newness of it, the novelty of it was coming through a lot with your first message from your higher self. And if you are not resonating with being a creative at this time, and really a lot of things can fall under that umbrella, it is up to you as the member of the collective to understand what that means for you. But I'm really getting a lot specifically about like even this, I know the whole deck is like watercolor, but like it really just stuck with me right here that this image of the pink and yellow on this one is like giving me watercolor vibes. And the difference between night and day, when you shift your work from being boring, being bland, being not quite what you intend it to be, to going all out and pouring your entire authentic self into it, is what gives it an aspect of being rebellious against like works in the field that you are putting it out into. It is definitely one that is being set apart based on the nature of it, which is, I mean, these are both, of course, we have Aquarius, very unique, very ahead of the time, I want to say, is very, like, Aquarius energy is like being quite innovative, being a dreamer, being a big thinker, things like this. I think that your ideas are you writing a book? Are you writing fiction? Are you creating art? Are you in a role of like advocacy where your methods of like, I guess, marketing that, you know, and kind of getting out the word or spreading a message, your method of doing so is unconventional and perhaps is pushing the boundaries on breaking rules and like going too far at times, potentially for some of you, pile one. Let's pull some tarot to get idea of what exactly this is and what are they. Workaholic is blue, the throat chakra, and is telling me that there could be a message here of sharing your work, like the importance of other people being able to get a hand on it, and a collection of people who think the same, who feel the same, the people who will understand it, people who have a similar shadow aspect, people who have had similar boundaries in life, similar experience in life, unique perspective that you guys share comes through in the work that you put out. And it is a space where these individuals are showing up, but the process that is happening is similar, more or less, within their minds, of sitting there in meditation. The way that your words, your images, your voice, your approach, the way that that speaks to them is like a universal language, is what I am seeing. Is very, very unique. And it is, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, you don't. Like with the sword, it is a cutting edge idea. The Judgment card, being called to voice this idea, to put your voice out there, however that applies to promoting your project, to promoting yourself, to promoting your values with it. The Queen of Swords. Because it is very cutting edge, and if reaching a niche community, it's almost like I'm seeing you being like a well-known figure in that community. Like, I'm really thinking of people kind of like household name type thing, a very well-known artist. We have 3 or 4 more cards. Wow, that just came out here. The Sun. Success, the joy that it can bring others is prominent in this message as well. Being able to share that light and sunshine with others, whether or not what it is you create is like representing moments of light and sunshine. It is bringing collective joy, collective experience, collective understanding to the people it is meant to reach. The 8 of Cups, it is finding its way to the people who are meant to get it. I mean, it's almost as if you've displayed your work here and thinking, free for all, whoever feels called to take it will, and I will not feel like I'm losing out on money or gaining anything from an exchange, but rather I know that those who are meant to take it will take it. And essentially I know that not all of the cups will be taken, because I know that the community I am reaching is more pointed and is more niche, and it's just a matter of finding them. Yeah. The 5 of Cups and the 7 of Cups. Yeah, totally is a matter of kind of, you know, if you aren't clear on the values, on the motivation behind your work, taking time to do that, because the fuel to the fire will be much greater when your ideas are more supportive of the overall outcome you wish that this will have on the collective, on who it is meant to reach, the impact it will have on them. You are inserting different like flavors into it, different like hints, you know what I mean, with choosing all of these aspects, like almost as if you are creating like a candle scent. I don't know, wherever you go, and you can pick your flavors and like put it in, pick your scents and tailor the candle. This is what you're doing. You're like, the product is finished, and now let me add like a sheen of this aspect of experience, this aspect of life. Let me add a little shout out to a certain type of person I'm trying to reach, someone who is like me, inner child as well, addressing shared traumas of our inner childs also could be significant for you, pile number 1. So messages here to lean into the specific way that your work impacts people, and lean into the idea that finding the right people to enjoy it may be somewhat of a process, but releasing control and knowing that those who will be magnetized to it will be attracted toward it and will find their way to it. And once they do, that's all it takes. It is only up from there. It is only spreading the news from there. It is things like this happening because releasing control of needing to please, rather than wanting to please as many people as possible with work that is mediocre to okay, you know, versus this work I am so proud of. It is my masterpiece, and maybe it won't resonate with as much people, and that is okay. Yes, pile number 1. Let's go ahead and pull the message, the final advice and guidance from your higher self for the second aspect that they wanted to talk to you about. Awareness. We have live in the moment. Be conscious of your thoughts and look for signs and guidance. Looking for those signs, following your inner compass and following the times where you feel highly motivated and running with it. Also following the times where you feel lack of motivation or lack of inspiration, and being aware of strategies that may help you find some inspiration. Whether that is going to a new location, working in a new location, travel, things like this that you know are going to bring you back to your awareness of your intentions behind your work in the first place, your intention behind your life purpose truly, I feel, is what you are discovering. And live in the moment now, because that is huge, and not everyone achieves their life's purpose, or at least not everyone realizes that they have reached their path. And so you having the awareness alone to know that you are on a special path, you have been heading somewhere special this whole time, that is something that is encouraging you live in the moment with the sun, because that in itself is so, so, so beautiful and should be cherished and taken full advantage of in this time. It could also help fuel your fire to more creative inspiration. Connecting with your inner child especially could translate very well into your work. Okay, so pile number 1, those are 2 messages that your higher self wanted to speak to you about today. If the messages were resonating, I know that this was for a few people. I feel it was pretty specific and both messages were strongly tied to each other. Please leave a like if you did resonate. I would love to know who did. If you feel like commenting as well, that would be great. I will be there to receive you in the comment section, but otherwise, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss future readings. I am going to be posting 4 times a week, Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that schedule is going to be set in stone. Starting next week, I'm going to be on that track for consistency with posting. So again, subscribe so that you don't miss future readings. Lots of ideas to put out there, and I'm very, very excited for it. So with all of that being said, pile 1, have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next one. Hey pile 2, if you chose the Page of Cups and the Turtle Crystal, then you are in the right place to receive your messages, advice, and guidance from your higher self. We are going to start looking at the first message from your higher self by pulling some Oracle followed by Tarot. So let's look into that for pile number 2. First message from their higher self. Help them understand if they are in the right pile for their messages. So here is your first Oracle card. We have the Healer. Very cup energy so far with the Page of Cups that you chose for the pile. Our second Oracle card for pile number 2, their first message. Wow, we have mysticism. Okay, I see you, pile 2. I see that you are our spooky spiritual group, perhaps. Let's pull final Oracle for this part of the reading to get an idea of what this energy is that your higher self wants to speak to you on. We have exaltation. Great pride in what it is you are capable of, in your growth, in your achievements. Our second card, we have indecision. Being faced with the moment of choosing the path that will bring you to your exaltation, with the angel on the other half of this tree here, versus staying stuck. It's almost like you are just behind this tree, ready to peek around and see the moment of truth that is waiting for you. Like, we have Libra energy, we have Venus represented with love waiting there for you, with nothing but justice, which in your case, of course, is going to bring you great things, good karma coming back to you. A moment of truth waiting for you. I'm imagining the traditional justice card or the traditional judgment card in tarot, where the dead are being called to awaken and to come out to their life's purpose, or to come out to the shift in the world that has been created around them. New creations waiting for you, with riches, reminding me of the Wheel of Fortune. Just around the corner, just around the bend, just if you decide to peek around that tree and not be afraid. There is an aspect of fear, this cloak that is shielding this person, this mystic figure, trying to hide this part of yourself. I see the Healer, I see the snake is really surrounding this object, this egg, whatever it may be in the middle there, trying to conceal it. Acquisition. We have the number 2 card I was looking at with exaltation. The idea of choice, definitely. Stubbornness with Taurus, thinking that being stubborn to continue forward, feeling like you have done enough, feeling like being in this shadow. I mean, this is so clear with the way that you are depicted as this like shadowy figure, which is very similar in this card from a different deck. You are being called to the light. You are being called to make that choice of remaining in hiding and feeling like that is enough to showcase your strengths, your capabilities, your work, to spread the word of what it is that you know and understand and that you have learned as you come to several cycles of receiving fortunes, of receiving new good luck, of receiving support to continue guiding you along this path of being a healer, being a mystic, being one that is called to these moments of judgment at the end of cycles. And you are being asked to come into the light in this sense, to make that choice, to tip the scales from one end to the other. I see this card on the top. I'm going to go ahead and take it. Negotiation. The scales. And this card, when it has come out in readings before, the energy of honor and strength within this person, the way that they are holding all aspects of them high and visible, and not only visible, but holding them up to the pedestal that they deserve. And this could be shining through you. This could be a way that you are acquiring more attention, if that is something you so desire, or just more eyes on you, gaining interest in what it is that you have, with this idea of acquisition, possibly like a romantic connection or someone taking interest in you in general. Let's pull the tarot to expand on this first idea for pile number 2's higher self. We have the King of Wands. Being called to rule, being called to lead. The Moon. Being called out of your inner world to make greater use of your strength. The Seven of Pentacles and the Seven of Swords. Confirmation to me with double sevens. Angel number 7 is so encouraging. Whenever I notice it, that is how I always interpret it, as a message from your spiritual team encouraging you, or a message of wishes coming true, wishes on the way, good luck, good fortune on the way to you. Like a wink almost, just letting you know that there's a glimmer of hope always. The Queen of Pentacles. So 7 of Swords and 7 of Pentacles. Starting to plant roots here and there with the 7 of Swords. Maybe the 7 of Swords is demonstrating an aspect of wanting to retreat in situations that get a little uncomfortable, or that get a little too close to home, or that are a little too inquisitive about what it is you have going on. Wanting to maybe drop a few hints or drop a little information, but taking the rest and being very possessive and afraid of leaving that behind or leaving it out for display. But 7 of Pentacles is realizing that this is an act of self-love. This is an act of nurturing and growing what you have so far. There is room to grow, and the call is whether you're going to take that or not and come into the spotlight, possibly out of like a hermit energy. The Magician coming into the spotlight, and I see the 2, the 4, the 6 of Wands down there. So coming into the spotlight, absolutely. Wow. As a leader, commanding control, commanding action, people following you, perhaps. Anything else here for pile number 2, their first message? Wow, a lot came out here. We have the Temperance card. We have the Knight of Pentacles. We have the Death card. And we have the 4 of Pentacles. So you could be between both phases at this point with Temperance. You could be dipping your toes in the water of sharing more about yourself, but definitely still keeping a lot to yourself, but slow and steady approaching where you were being called, approaching growth, approaching ascension, approaching more connections with the Knight of Pentacles, slow and steady, finding yourself moving more toward one direction, the scales tipping to one direction again. The Death card. The scales tipping toward this transformation that you're being called to, I keep wanting to say transforming out of Hermit energy, bringing your wisdoms into possibly more of like an Eight of Pentacles energy of mastering the craft and sharing it, being an example, being a teacher, being a guiding force for whatever it is that you are so good at. Okay, pile number 2. Let's finish out this first message from your higher self with one more card for guidance and advice. For pile 2's first message from their higher self, we have trust. Leap into the unknown. Have faith and move forward. Believe you will fly. Which is exactly what you have been being called to do, is moving forward, tipping the scales to one direction and flowing with that, following the way that this brings you to a new space, new environment, new embodiment of your mystic healer aspects, being exalted in those, being recognized in those, enjoying the abundance that comes with that because of the labor it took for you to get there, being a leader for others as well because of this shift you have made. Wow, pile number 2, that is your first message from your higher self. Let's go ahead and move on to message number 2 for pile 2 from their higher self. What do they want to speak to them about today? We have this card, the Judge. Speaking of justice, speaking of the scales tipping in one direction, very interesting. Message number 2 for pile 2 from their higher self. Victim. Who is the victim here is the answer. The acorn who's taken by the squirrel, or the squirrel who is taken by the dragon, or the dragon who is brought to its demise by whatever force. Who is the victim in these cases? Who is determining justice in these situations? Aspects of wondering what is the point of it all, recognizing like this trend, this cycle, this hierarchy, the way that things play out, this cycle of life, and feeling victimized by that, feeling like there is a judge who is in control of bringing you to different places at different times without your own will to end up there. Feeling like the victim, feeling like you are not in control of how things will play out. Feeling like we're all the victim, feeling like just the way things go and systems in place, hierarchies, things like this, it's like no one is winning. Pretty pessimistic idea coming through that your higher self is wanting you to start to deconstruct with the caution card. Inviting more harmony rather than focusing on the aspects of this cycle, this pattern that you have recognized in humanity, or really in all of time and history and things like this in nature, the cycle of life. Choosing to view the chaos, the harmony, the beauty in it, the life created, the creativity, the diversity, choosing to see all the beauty within that, especially the chaos, because it shows you that life is vibrant, life is moving, life is ever changing, and this is a way to look at it that gives it an optimistic light. being cautious about how you are judging your situation, judging the world, judging the way that we interact with each other, trying your best to turn that into a brighter perspective, admiring the chaos, revenge, fueling your fire through these shadowy aspects with Scorpio coming through, being intrigued by the way that things work and the way that things play out rather than discouraged. Yeah, rather than discriminating these things, allowing them to show up in the form rather than as a moth if you don't like bugs, rather than seeing this as a moth who has no worth, seeing the beauty in it, seeing how it is a colorful butterfly, things like this, just shifting your perspective. And there's one more card I'm feeling here before I move on to tarot. We have submission. Submitting to this idea. Submitting to seeing things in a light of harmony rather than in chaos, peace, tranquility are all the likes of harmony. I'm thinking of like scientific like laws of, I don't know if this is right, but like Newton's law. I'm thinking of some like equation or some scientific idea speaking of the laws of like chaos, the laws of movement, the laws of like energy and atoms constantly moving, and seeing that chaos as divine and as beautiful and as having a greater purpose than what feels like on the surface is just one of destruction. Submitting to this idea, realizing that you can leave this cage at any time. It has been open the whole time, waiting for you to venture outward. Yes. Okay. Pile number 2. Let's expand on this with the tarot. What other messages can we get about what Pile 2's higher self is trying to tell them about this situation? We have the 8 of Pentacles, seeing the aspects of it all being a master plan. This idea was coming through in Pile 1 of, like, I believe it's like a meme where it's like when God created such and such, and like spilling the whole bottle of salt shaker into it accidentally, and it carrying like a very significant heavy trait in that person. Similar idea that I'm seeing with the 8 of Pentacles, with her brewing up something using multiple ingredients. I'm seeing the divine nature with which things are created to interact, to evolve, and to flow off of each other in nature, in the world, in that chaotic yet harmonious state. It is all divine. Again, with the idea of like choosing, picking and choosing precisely, realizing that everything was created in a precise nature. If you subscribe to ideas of creation, it doesn't have to be anything specific, but I'm just seeing that everything has a purpose, everything has intention poured into it, everything has unique knowledge that it can share with you. The 6 of Wands, it is all about appreciating those aspects, uplifting them, viewing them as someone to take note of, as something to take knowledge of with the 6 of Wands, being appreciated, appreciating life in this way. 2 of Cups, appreciating that harmonious aspect to life and the natural connection that is waiting for you out there. Not being pessimistic about there can't be anyone in the world if you are single, and thinking there's no one in the world who is going to understand me, who is going to relate to my views. But I do see higher selves connecting with a potential person, with the cats in this image, as well as your physical grounded beings allowing to open their heart space and to be vulnerable and extremely authentic and real with each other. And that too is something that you recognize as being beautiful. The King of Pentacles, overall, you are being encouraged to come into a mindset of greater stability, of greater abundance available, of greater appreciation for many, many, many aspects with the Nine of Cups. Wow. Coming into a lot of appreciation, coming into a lot of respect for everything that you interact with, all energy fields, animals, plants, things like this, the world in itself. With the Nine of Cups is someone who's becoming very open to receiving and letting free your own energy back into that. Your final card, the Devil. Speaking of chaotic nature to things, speaking of the less balanced aspect of things, speaking of the injustices in the world and the truth that there is in that occurring. Your higher self doesn't want to diminish any of this. Your higher self wants you to reclaim some focus to your own desires, to your own pathway, because it is one that is unique and one that you were called to fulfill. You and you alone are called to fulfill a unique pathway. And your message here is to come more into that, come into that in a stronger way. And selfishness, almost focusing on your journey before worrying about zooming out and seeing the grand picture. Yes, I feel like I want to shuffle this one more time, and then I'm going to pull from the bottom the King of Cups. This is who you are stepping into becoming. The King of Cups has created their own space where they're allowed to nurture themselves while respecting the way the world is turning and moving and shifting around them. This one wants to come out. The Ten of Wands, releasing all of that burden of other people's stuff, of releasing all of it. Your higher self really, really needs you to do. Stop being so judgmental about seeing only the negative aspects to life and to your situation and to humanity. Having a greater perspective, putting down all that unnecessary weight for you, pile 2, is what you're being called to from your higher self. Let's end this message with final advice and guidance from your higher self. So, we have magic. Make a wish. Believe in miracles. Magic surrounds you. Exactly what I was seeing with the aspect of Eight of Pentacles brewing up perfection, brewing up harmony, which may appear as chaos. Believing that this is all magic, this is all divine, including you and your presence and existence here in this time as a healer, as a mystic, as an emotional person, as a magician, all of these things. This is just as much magic as how magical it is that a volcano can exist with such force, how magical it is that the oceans are so bountiful and have not been fully explored and likely will never be. Everything is so, so beautiful to you in this time when you have made this connection, pile 2. I'm really looking forward to you stepping into this energy, and this is the start, is having received these messages from your higher self. So, with all of that being said, if you did enjoy aspects of today's reading, if it connected to you and your higher self, then please leave a like on the video as well as comment if you feel like it. I would love to know what pile you came from and how things came across for you as an individual, as well as subscribe so that you don't miss any future readings. I am uploading Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 4 days a week consistently from this point on. So please subscribe so that you don't miss future readings. I have a lot of ideas that I'm very, very excited to bring to this channel. So, pile 2, I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next reading. Hey there, Pile 3! If you chose the 5 of Swords and the Dragon Crystal, then you found the right place to receive your messages from your higher self. So let's jump right into the first message from your higher self. This will help, again, give you an idea of whether this is the correct pile where your higher self will be speaking to you. So, what is the first message for pile number 3's higher self? We have the Queen. This card came out when I was shuffling, or it was one that I wanted to flip over and just see for myself when I was shuffling, which is interesting that it did want to come out for you guys. I always say I'm not going to pull cards until I am sitting down, filming, shuffling for the group, and if the card really wants to make its way out for that group, then it will again. So indeed, it did. You guys are the Queen. And we have the Victim card. How interesting, because that came out in the second message from pile 2's higher self. If you felt called to that pile at all, definitely checking out the second message specifically, if not both. And I do feel like I want to pull a second card. We have impartiality. Impartiality? Whatever. Impartiality. Okay. And from the final oracle deck for messages for pile 3's, from pile 3's higher self, message number 1. Protection and appreciation. The 5 of Swords is the card that you chose to bring you to this group for today, and it can be about competition or about unexpected tricks, unexpected blockages, unexpected delays, things like this, and feeling possibly like a victim mentality in this way is something your higher self is coming down to talk to you about. Is understanding, it's almost as if the Queen is inconvenienced by being led a different pathway through the town, through the city to, safely make an exit, and being annoyed at the inconvenience on the Queen's part of having to be huddled around and sheltered and covered to safely be transported. And realizing that the reason that this is happening is for your safety and for your protection. Because 5, I'm noticing 5, which is of course the 5 of Swords, likely and usually like a turning point within the story of each suit in the minor arcana of tarot. When we reach the 5 card, it seems to always be a turning point. Or 5 in general can be more of like a chaotic, untamed energy if we're speaking of the significance of numerology and things like this. So 5 is like protection from those situations where you would have been led astray from your true path. Feeling like the protection coming in is inhibiting your true path, is taking you away from it, but in reality it is trying to bring you back into alignment with it as quickly as possible, to detour around this blockage, delays, things like this, understanding they are not out to get you. They are neutral in how they come about. The purpose is simply to interfere if your path is not going to lead you to your greatest destination. If there is a way to get there more quickly, swiftly, as well as gaining wisdoms, gaining tools, gaining resources, gaining foundations for other aspects in your path that you don't yet recognize will be pouring into the future, the things that you are going through now, the things that you are learning and experiencing now, knowing that they're no less coming in from an energy of just keeping you in alignment. not seeing it as being the victim. It is protection, appreciating that, appreciating those moments. If you're able to make one connection reflecting on your life of a path that you desired, that which now, years out, looking back, you know where that would have led you, and you know that it would not have been in alignment with where you are now, and where you found out was where you were meant to end up. Seeing things with neutrality, not having a specific pathway in mind, or this is so interesting how the King of Wands came out in every pile as the first tarot card from this deck for their first message from their higher self. Every single message today for first message in each group, the King of Wands came out. Interesting. You also have the King of Swords and the Six of Cups. King of Swords reminds me a lot of being in an energy of discernment, being in an energy of neutrality as well, rationality, being grounded. The King of Swords is an intellectual. The King of Swords has wisdom, has truth on his side, and I think that you were able to step into this, especially looking back with Six of Cups can be about nostalgia and looking back on past situations and things like this and making those connections of where it all was pushing you, silently guiding you in a neutral way just to get you aligned on your path, or rather to veer around those situations that were not necessary on your path, that were not meant for you. Quickly taking you out of those situations as well if you find yourself wrapped up in them, or as soon as lessons have phased out from being in that environment and it is time to move on to the next phase. Let's continue to pull some tarot messages for pile 3 from their higher self. Okay, we have 2 cards here. We have the Five of Pentacles and we have the World card. A huge jump from lack, from disappointment, from being annoyed, from feeling inconvenienced, to unlocking and accessing all the potential of the world, of your journey, understanding those cycles and arriving at the conclusion of cycles and looking back on what had taken place and its true intentions all along. The Nine of Pentacles, definitely arriving in a place of comfort, of safety, of stability in your journey, acceptance of your journey as well, and great appreciation for where you have been led all along. Let's get, I'll say, one more tarot card for pile 3. And the Lovers, I believe, is a message of the harmony that you are headed toward, the balance you are headed toward, the loving connections that can be inspired in your life, the loving insights, the rose-colored lens, I want to say, to life with everything you are surrounded with is divine and is meant for you and is something that you achieved, something you deserve because it came into your path. You were not the victim. 10 of Cups, you have so much going for you. You were not the victim, pile number 3. No blame towards you for feeling this way at all. But your higher self just wants to uplift you and remind you that you are the queen who is protected at all times, who is appreciated. The Ace of Swords, a reminder, is all this is for you from your higher self. Pile 3. This is what you're being called to do. This release, this acceptance of untraditional pathways, of pathways turning out not exactly how you had imagined. You're being called to understand the end goal of all of this. And you arriving quickly at a stable stopping point, a checkpoint, a point in which you can look back on what has occurred before, a pause in the cycles that take place. This is arriving quickly for you and is going to be a major turning point in the harmony you feel in your life, the supported nature of it, all of these things. So I'm pulling here the final advice for you, pile 1. We have this one flip over. Dance. We have move your body to music. Dance with the rhythm of life. Manifest your dreams through dance. Okay, that's interesting. The dance of life, the calculated steps, combined with the unexpected little flares that you can add to it, brings out a lot of potential in the world, a lot of joy for you, and hope as well. Expansion, I saw. I want to pull all of those, but there's about 10 in my hand there, so I'm not going to do that. But hope, stay positive. The world is behind you, or the worst is behind you. Look up to the light. You are heading toward the world, toward 9 of Pentacles, from a place of more clashing energy, of more disappointment. You are heading toward the light with the hope card, and enjoying the journey with the message of dance. Okay, pile number 3, that was your first message from your higher self. Let's go ahead and jump into the second message. So let's pull an oracle card here. I want to pull this one from the bottom of the deck. We have the Lover. Beautiful, with number 17. The Star card in Tarot and the Lover. Okay, anything else here? What does pile 3's higher self want to speak to them about? We have the Joy card. Okay. And this one, Enlightenment. Beautiful, beautiful energies coming through. So much yellow, so much bright, vibrant, joyful energy. Harmonious energy again with the Lovers, with coming to enlightenment. Coming almost to a moment of judgment, the Judgment card, which precedes the World card in Tarot, the last step before arriving at the end of a phase, of a journey. Choice. Heart and head over feet is a message that I often get when I see that card come out. Following your heart and your head over feet. There's something about, it's the debate of like following your heart versus following your head, and there's ways of describing the two as both being quite intuitive toward a gentle combination of some of the aspects of rationality that your head is bringing you, but really truly your heart being the true compass within that, the true north compass that is pointing your feet in the right direction, that is allowing them to move without even seeing where they are stepping, with this blockage that is over the feet on that image. So taking the aspects of rationality that the brain does bring, but also the brain is where we house those downloads, where we house those greater insights. And so there is such an intuitive aspect to that as well. Listening to that while also feeling the tugs on your heartstrings and things like this, that your heart calls you to expand, with the expanding flower across this woman here in the card. The rose, the unfolding rose, your heart expanding, the Lover, this expansion of the bright yellow light aura coming off of the swan. And the eccentricity with the yellow as well, the bright colors, the uniqueness, leaning into all of this. It's almost like a foreign concept to you, or like viewing your brain or your heart, both one or the other, as like a creature that you don't quite understand, that you don't quite know how to communicate with. Something like this, becoming enlightened to understand the wild nature of your heart, letting that wild energy flow free, letting the brain with Aquarius, letting the mind go where it needs to, where it's being called to, letting it soar, letting it become more imaginative, letting it imagine the future for yourself that you are being called to with the Tower, which may be a lot different, letting those thoughts come in freely without trying to intercept them, without trying to deceive yourself of what they're truly trying to tell you, without the ego interrupting and telling you it's not true. we have the Lovers card come out. Not letting your head disrupt the true thoughts that are coming in. This strong bond between head and heart that is harmoniously creating a greater life force. This is like that if this were to be disconnected, this source of light and power and energy would be cut off. Do not allow them to feel like separated. Do not allow the need to come in to feel like head and heart should be considered different aspects, different bodies, different viewpoints, not on the same page. 5 of Cups, not on the same page, not experiencing the same situation that is depicted here. This is a happy moment, but this aspect is sad, is disappointed, not being on the, feeling like this is not, when we speak of duality, when we speak of polarity, that is not speaking of head and heart. Those are one. Those are, the body in itself is one supported being of every aspect within it. Every aspect of our bodies work to support every other aspect as well. Working to support yourself, working to improve yourself, working toward enlightenment, working toward these first sparks of inspiration are coming through for you. Lots of yellow I'm noticing. I noticed the singular yellow balloon that is waiting for you to take it and explore it. Let's see. Here's one more. Lots waiting for you to grow. The 10 of Pentacles stemming off of the Ace of Pentacles. So much room for vibrancy, for harmony within yourself. Harmony with yourself, with the 6 of Cups, giving me an image of pouring into communicating with your inner child, communicating with your higher self, sharing things, seeing everything as one body, regardless of its transformation over the years, and regardless of its lack of dominating presence in who you are as you change from day to day, year to year. All the things like this. Recognizing it all as one and all to your favor. And taking off with that. And when you realize this, it's like you've been waiting your whole life to finally understand this. It's like you've unlocked some hidden knowledge is truly how you feel. And your final card with the Knight of Cups, you feel like you have been brought a very unique opportunity to shift your perspective and to become enlightened. And that whole process is something that found you, along with the shark in the water, or whatever is pictured there. Everything has a shadow aspect to it. Nothing is perfect. You weren't going to be presented with the perfect life. But this sure looks pretty good coming toward you. It looks loving, it looks in harmony with you, it looks like it has a lot to offer and teach you about yourself, about others, about the world. Yes, pile number 3. Those are your messages, your second message from your higher self coming through today to speak to you, encouraging you to embrace all aspects of life, embrace harmony, mesh, integrate all things that are considered a working force for you at this time, meshing them into one and understanding that collaboration is key. There's a reason we see the themes of collaboration, the themes of friendship come up in this tarot deck, because it is the sustaining force of life, of nature, is building off of each other, building off of other energies, and things like this. So this is what you're being called to: enlightenment, finding joy, finding love, finding harmony, finding so many opportunities from this realization. And your final message and advice for today from your higher self is a message of support, asking for help, getting more rest, and nurturing yourself as you are going through these changes. Rest is big here. I'm sure rest is going to be highly needed in such a transformation and such a journey when you're implementing new energies into yourself. Lots of rest. You're being called to leaning on the support of others, regardless of whether you feel that they can relate to what it is you have experienced, as well as asking for more help from your spiritual team, because this feels like an event that almost really has introduced you to them, just based off the energy of your first message from your higher self, which had aspects of not understanding the intention behind your spiritual team's guidance with you, behind the universe's support and the things that they put in front of you. This is, again, feeling like for you, pile 3, that this could be very new to you, leaning on support with your spiritual team. And this is a beautiful time because you have unlocked a strong support system. And be excited for that, because it is fantastic. So pile number 3, those are your messages of support and guidance from your higher self. If you resonated with any of these messages that came through for you today, please leave a like on the video, as well as leave a comment if you feel like sharing the pile you came from, is any information. I am there. I'm receptive to respond and receive you with an open heart. So please do that if you feel called to. Also, subscribe to the channel. I am posting on Sunday, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So subscribe so that you don't miss another reading. I have so many ideas going forward to bring to this channel that I am super excited for, and just so grateful to be here channeling these messages for you, and from a place of love, for sure. So pile 3, with all of that being said, I hope you have an amazing day, and I will see you in the next reading.